Okay, I'm squeezed into the 904 Porsche, and we're getting ready to go out and do a couple laps around Summit Point Racetrack. We're good. Yeah. White and blue or whatever. Tim Kuzer, he's the owner of the 904 Porsche. So what can you tell us about a 904? What year is it? How many they make?
This is a 64. It was born in February of 64. They made 108 of them because there's 108 good records that Porsche has maintained. And after that, guys were making them out of spare parts. So we've seen higher numbers, serial numbers, but and that doesn't mean they're spurious cars. They're real parts, but put together later.
What was the year span of the 904?
It was good for 2 years, because prior to that, race cars have been good. Porsche race cars have been good and competitive for 3 years. Times were changing. Tire technology was changing. The British were really coming on line with the hot Lotus cars, and Porsche had a lot of competition. So in '65, they tried to run these cars in competition, and they had to get more horsepower. They had to change the engine a little bit to get even more power to stay competitive, because Abarth was out there now with this 2000, Abarth Simca 2000, which was given in fits and hill climbs. And they had to lighten the car. They had a roadster version of this to try to keep up with it. And they dealt with that problem by coming out with the Carrera 6 in 1966.
What makes this motor special that's in this car for Porsche?
It's the ultimate culmination, let's say, of the 4-cam engine that they came up with in '52. And they were getting enlarging in it, getting more horsepower out of it, and bigger engines. This is a 2-liter, and they got it up to around 190 horsepower there at the end in '65. But to do that, you got to wind its tail something first. The last one, the bodies that put out the power.
It sure seemed to have a lot of power for
it's about 150 now.
50-year-old car.
Yeah, we detuned it.
You detuned it.
We detuned it, yes. So it would last.
Sort of longevity.
Yeah, it's in the collector car status now. It's not competitive, and it's pretty.
Yeah. It's going to stay that way, hopefully.
Yeah.
So you've been restoring this car since 1970?
I bought it in November '75.
And this is its first time back on the track?
Since about '72.
Now, does this car have, this particular car have race history?
Oh yeah. It's been to Sebring, and Porsche, it came in second in its class, and it's on a Porsche poster.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Alan Kroll. 66 Sebring.
So how many years did this thing race in the Pro Series back then?
I guess about 3 years when Duval was driving it, and after that, it went to a new owner who crashed it hard, and after that, it went to different guys who were running amateur racing, but not professional. So it was professional in 64, 5, and 6. That was the end of it.
And I know from, I've personally been to 2 different discussions that Tim has given on this car, which is very lengthy, about the restoration process and how every nut, bolt, part fought him to the end of time, and just what a difficult process it was to restore this car. Mainly it was all handmade.
The body, we had to remake the body because the body parts I got when I got the car looked fine in primer when I got it, but when we delved into it, it was terrible. A lot of the fabric mix was oil soaked. Nobody wanted to work on it because how do you get glue to stick to wood? Nobody's invented that yet. So it was a fellow in Pennsylvania wanted to make his 914 into a 904, and he was willing to bankroll the project to pay for the molds. I said, fine, use my parts. We borrowed some good parts from other people that I didn't have. Like the doors. We found some new old stock doors and a new old stock tail section to copy.
Wow.
They're on somebody else's car now.
So this is definitely a rare treat, because most of these cars, right, all that are in existence, are either in museums or hoarded away in somebody's collections.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen a video of one actually being driven, have you?
No.
Let alone on the track. And trust me, when you see this, he was pedaling it. He was going. This was
I was trying to.
yeah, this was a great experience.
That was spectacular.
As you can remember, when you open the throttle on that engine, it just loves it.
Yeah.
It wants to go for the moon.
Oh,
You have to remember to shift it.
what a great sound.
Yeah. There's a new book out on the Carrera engines by a man in Germany who's been working on them forever. And he says they love to run fast. The engine's built for speed. Get your foot in it and drive it.
Well, what octane fuel do you run in this thing?
93.
93?
Yeah. And we don't hear anything.
So what kind of compression ratio is
It's
that?
10.6.
10.6?
This one, yeah.
Yeah, the motor is a masterpiece. It's like a Rolex watch.
Yeah. A lot of parts.
A lot of parts.
Yeah, it's a lot of bookkeeping to keep careful track of what you're doing in there.
How long did it take you to rebuild the motor?
We spent probably a year, because off and on over a year, because parts availability and just trying to figure out how we can retime the cams to make it more tractable and more drivable. Because the way the cams were set up with it originally, it's a race motor. Between 5 and 7,500 roughly is where you're going to be driving it. To take a collector car and do that with it today, it just tears the engine apart. The high revs is what kills it. But that's where the power is. So we decided we wanted to back it off a little bit.
Yeah, good thing. Good thing. So what's your plan with this car going forward?
Porsche Club DE?
Obviously, it's not going to sit in a museum.
No. No.
This one is not museum bound.
No. No. It's a fun car.
You're going to enjoy it?
Yeah. That's what it's for.
Yeah. Great.
And
Great.
if the Ford cam gets ugly, or if it got to come out for a while, it'll take a 6, because the engine bay was built for 6-cylinder. They plan to put a 6-cylinder. When this car was being designed and built, the 901 engine, the early 911, was stuck at 120 horsepower from what I've read. Everything they did, it was stuck there. It sounds like a gas flow through the engine. But they weren't able to solve it for a while. So they said, they got to do something here. You know, they're trying to get ready for the 64 season. They knew they could get 150 horsepower out of their Carrera 2 engine. So they took it and upgraded it. Higher compression, bigger valves, carburetors, etc. All the little tricks you do to an engine to get more grunt out of it. And it worked.
Yeah, it works well. What a great car.
And about the time it got on the track, they started getting more horsepower out of it in 64, out of the 911, the 901 at the time. And then they started putting those engines in these cars for factory. These cars were homologated at 1,410 pounds.
Wow.
This one's heavier because of a lot of reasons. First ones had no roll bar, no seat belts.
It was definitely heavier when I was in it, that's for sure. So was
More
there
stable.
any professional drivers that we may recognize their names that actually drove this car or raced it?
Jacques Duval in Canada. Everybody knew him because he had a TV show on cars. And he did a drive home, the afternoon drive home show on radio and TV.
Oh, really? Did he actually have this car filmed?
Probably.
Oh, that would be cool to dig some of that up too.
Yeah. But it's across the border and there's not much connection. And I haven't pursued the subject. I do have some photos from that era.
All right, well, great. Well, thanks for taking us for a ride. I'm sure that this car is going to be in a lot of my videos for a long time, being that Tim and I are in the same club, and we're neighbors.
Yeah.
So, and Tim's a great guy, did a great job restoring this car. It took him half his life,
Yes.
literally,
I never thought of it that way.
so far. But now he's going to enjoy it for the rest of his life, so that's great. So, all right, thanks, Tim.
See.